FM for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect those of the PFC Entertainment Network or any of the affiliates that make this show possible.
This is the Pure Fury Creations Entertainment Network.
From the gridiron to the ball diamonds, from the hardwood to the ice rinks, from the fairways to the octagon and everywhere in between. If it makes headlines, it's fair game on the Sports Reel podcast on the PFC Entertainment Network. And we welcome you to the Sports Reel podcast, live here across the platforms of the PFC Entertainment Network, along with Tim Sheridan. I'm Jason Clouse. We certainly appreciate you tuning in here this week. A couple of minutes running late. We ran into some technical issues trying to get everything all squared away. I could hear him, he could hear me, and I don't know, man. Riverside's on one today, I feel like, and it has been for the last little bit. But be that as it may, we're going to do the best we can here. We are live streaming this across riverside.fm and, of course, the PFC network pages on both Facebook and YouTube. And in a moment, we will be posting the link in the live chat on Facebook. So if you want to be a part of the conversation, you just hit that link, jump through a couple of their hurdles, and we'll bring you into our virtual waiting room, and we'll bring you on the show when it's that time. Tim, there's a lot of things I want to touch on this week. And it's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows, if I can be honest with you. What I would like to start off with real quick, just, you especially, you've worked with me in a couple of different endeavors. First it was in the wrestling space, and now here we are doing podcasting. But the one common theme is, man, whether it was a roster of 40 wrestlers or a family of 7 or 8 podcasters, I try to run this thing like a family, right? So, we come together for one reason, but we're humans, and we enjoy each other. We look out for one another. We help each other, very much like that family dynamic. I say all that to say that the PFC network lost a member of our family last week, and I wanted to start the show off this week and make mention of the unfortunate, untimely passing of Todd Gilbert. And as we're live streaming this on a Thursday evening, yesterday was his funeral, and it was more or less an MWO reunion. In some regards, I saw some guys and gals that I hadn't seen in a couple of years since I suspended operations on the wrestling front. But Todd's going to be missed. He was such a tremendous person, such a beautiful person, such a beautiful heart and soul. Really went above and beyond to help me in not just in the wrestling space, but doing live shows, my stage shows, and he had his own show here on the network. So we wanted to take a moment here at the top of the program to once again send our condolences, our thoughts and prayers to the Gilbert family, his parents, his children, his friends, his fans. You talk about a guy that reached out, across multiple realms of entertainment. He was that guy, and he's going to be truly missed. So we wanted to make mention of that real quick. Did you have a chance to work with Todd or meet Todd in a formal capacity, Tim?
No, actually. I've only ever heard of him, but I've never met him. Everything I've heard, he was a stand-up guy, really good guy, and I'm sorry about hearing about his passing. It was just way too soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've only ever heard good things about him. He kind of came in MWO, you know, later on, way past after I was gone, and we never crossed paths with the network. But I've always heard great things about him, and I'm sad to hear about his passing.
Yeah, one of those you just didn't see coming,
No.
you know. And very, very, very sad day. The last few days here they've been difficult. I'm not going to lie. We were supposed to do this last night, on our regular Wednesday night. And by the time it was all said and done and I got back to the house here, um, I was spent. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, he and I had a very unique bond, and he's going to be sorely missed for sure. So we wanted to make mention of that. We're going to throw some information up uh, on pfcnetwork.net on how you can help the family now in the aftermath of all this. So, in the next day or two, head over to pfcnetwork.net. It is our official website, and Todd is going to have his own memorial page on that website. So, check that out. Um, and I hate to stay on this kind of topic, but it's very timely in the manner that this afternoon I got word that Chet Lemon, one of the faces of the 1984 World Championship team for the Detroit Tigers, passed away. And I didn't see that coming either. And that one got me too because I have a very special fanfare for the '84 Tigers. And right now they are in the midst of game two of a doubleheader with the Colorado Rockies. Game one, man, by the second inning it was 8-0 in
Oh
favor
yeah,
of,
they
of the
smoked him.
Tigers. Yeah, they did. Um, and staying in along with that, um, we I had seen that Chet Lemon had passed away, and I started thinking we haven't lost very many members of that particular team. So this one's it stung a little bit. I I don't mind telling you. Um, the '84 Tigers for in our age group, that was the team. You
Mm.
know that they went out. I mean, they were dominant from day one, and they rode that momentum all the way to the World Series title, beating the San Diego Padres in 5 games. Um, did you have any particular fanfare for Chet Lemon? And I was aware watching that team of how special he was, not just in the field, not just at the plate, but just the whole city rallied around these guys, and he was one of the more popular members of that team. Where was Mr. Lemon at in terms of your fanfare?
Well, to be honest with you, with that early team, to look back at it, I don't really remember them personally winning the World Series other than in history because I think I was only like 7 or 8 months old when they did it. So
Oh, well, that makes sense.
I was born in '84, so they won it the year I was born, which makes it special. Maybe they won it because I was born that year. I'm not
Could
sure,
have been.
but who knows? But yeah, yeah. I mean, I can look back at the history of the '84 team, and I have a lot of respect for that team because honestly, it's the last time the Tigers have actually won the World Series, so it was a special thing, and hopefully they do it again this year. But yeah, I was a little bit too young in that aspect to really be full on fanfare.
I guess I didn't realize that that's the year that you were born.
Yeah,
So I can tell you, um,
you would have been a
growing
young
up,
man at that time, or
I
a
was
young,
I
yeah,
was I was 8 years old
yeah.
when they won that, and but I remember that season so well because it wasn't a matter of the the water cooler talk wasn't a manner of, hey, did the Tigers win yesterday? It was, how much did the Tigers win by? They were dominant from day one, man. They were on the top of their division, and they never lost that grip through 162 games.
It's kind of
And
reminiscent of this year, isn't it, so far?
it is. It is. This year's team is low key on track to become that dominant team. They are still at the top of the American League right now.
Yeah.
And we've seen glimpses of greatness. We saw it in 2006. We saw it in 2012. They would win the pennant for the American League, but they just couldn't get over that final hump. But the 84 team was something very, very special. The entire city rallied around this team. It was the Tigers games were the hottest ticket in town. You could not get into Tiger Stadium during their home games because everybody was on the bandwagon. And Chet Lemon was one of those guys. Like, the media went after him every single time. Post game, pre game, they knew that he was going to provide a soundbite. The popularity and his commitment to the team, to the franchise, to the city of Detroit was infectious, and that's what made the '84 championship team so special. So, sad day for longtime Tiger fans. Newer Tiger fans got something of a jolt this afternoon with the announcement that Don Kelly, who is one of the great utility players
Love Don
for,
Kelly.
yeah,
That guy would
for,
play
for
every. I think the one season he did play every position. He even pitched
yeah,
one inning. So.
yes, he did. He is now the new manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates. The
Oh no
Pittsburgh
shit.
Pirates have just named him um, their new manager, and I was so happy to see that.
That's good to
That
see.
guy.
He deserves it. He was always a worker. He was a you could always count on him in any position. But I always look at those and I go, I want to see how they transition into that role, because sometimes as a player, they don't transition into those roles very well. Sometimes they do. You know what I mean? It just depends on. I guess I should say you don't have too many like superstar players that transition into those roles well.
Right.
He was a utility player. You look at most managers in the league, most of them played in the league regardless, but none of them were like superstars. That's usually those guys fit in. So hopefully he fits in really well over there, and I'm happy to see that he gets to continue a career in baseball.
I am too. And when you think about guys from our teams here in Detroit, there's so much knowledge and so much talent. And you look at a guy like Don Kelly. He learned from some of the Jim Leland. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He was under the Jim Leland learning tree, and you can't think of a better guy to learn from in terms of being a baseball manager. And I feel like the lessons instilled into Don is going to be very beneficial for Pittsburgh. And give him a little bit of time. And I'm talking to Pirates fans right now, because this is a very disenchanted franchise right now. Give the man some time to get his footing, and he does have the experience, he does have the knowledge, he has the intelligence to really do something here. And it's going to be very interesting to see how Pittsburgh responds with Don Kelly now at the helm of this thing. I would not be surprised that within the next year or two, we're going to be looking at Pittsburgh as one of those favored teams for the National League, especially in their division. So it's going to be interesting. So congratulations to Don Kelly, very well deserved, and I'm excited for him. So
Yeah,
we got
it's funny that you bring up that he got it as a former player, and I was actually what came to my mind when you're talking that I was watching something last night. I can't remember if it was YouTube or something, I can't remember where it was from, whether it was a podcast or a radio station. They were talking about former players that go on to either be coaches, managers, team owners and stuff like that. And they were shitting all over Michael Jordan because he was the greatest player of all time, but he was one of the shittiest team owners or, general managers of a team ever when he took over the Washington Wizards. So it kind of like triggered that in my brain when you start talking about that.
What's funny about that is when I thought about or when I read about Don Kelly, and I was thinking about the different managers in MLB right now that did have successful careers as players. Some of them were able to make that transition. They know how to communicate what they're trying to teach.
Yeah.
Other guys, not so much. And then I think about in the wrestling space, some of the greatest in-ring performers of all time. I'll use Ted DiBiase as an example. One of the greatest workers of all time. But as a producer, he's the drizzling shits.
Yeah.
He knows how to do it. He doesn't know how to explain it.
Correct.
And you go back into this realm, baseball, football, basketball, you can be the best player that there ever was, but if you don't know how to communicate that, you can have all that knowledge, but it's if you don't know how to bring that out and then to get that out of your players, man, that's a unique dynamic, and it makes people question, well, why can't you do that? Our brains aren't wired that way.
Yeah.
I wasn't the greatest worker that there ever was, but I could tell you why I did what I did and why it made sense. You know what I mean? I'm able to communicate that. Not a lot of people can. So with Don Kelly, and you look at the different managers that he's played for, I use Jim Leland as an example because he's a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean? Like people know who Jim
It's one of the
Leland is.
greatest managers of all time. Like
Absolutely.
like
You can't deny that.
hands down, one of the greatest
Yeah.
ever.
What took his team to multiple World Series, led the Florida Marlins to a championship, and so it's going to be cool to see. Now I don't know if "cool" is the right word, but it's going to be interesting to see if Don Kelly is the latest guy to make that transition. I think of guys like Sparky Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
He was a decent player, Hall of Fame coach. Um, Roberts, Dave Roberts with Los Angeles, AJ Hinch. There's other guys out there right now at the helm that were good players, and they've gone on and become great managers. Then I think of like Don Mattingly, great player, okay coach, okay manager. He had some success, but he didn't make that impact, especially with the Mets, that everybody expected him to. He just could not communicate. He had the respect of the players, but that's only going to get you
So
so
far.
far.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So, wish you the best of luck, Donnie Kelly, baby.
Yeah. Best of luck to him.
Well, aside from all that, let's get back to the formalities. How the hell are you this week?
I'm tired. It's already been a long ass week. Just work's been stupid. Just tired. Ready to get to this weekend and hopefully yeah, there we go right there. Gretzky and Jordan were both shit coaches, team executives. Ain't that the damn truth? But greatest players that ever do play their sports. But yeah, I'm ready for this week to be over, to be honest. It's just been a dragging ass week and I'm ready for it to be over. Other than that, like I'm good. Besides being tired. Beer tastes good. Dinner was good.
Oh, what did we have for dinner tonight?
We had some chicken and peas.
Okay,
So trying to keep it a little on the healthy side. So some baked chicken and some peas, trying to get into shape for golf this year. So
very good. I
not
can
that it
assist you.
matters. Like I'm trying to act like I need to be in shape for golf. I don't play on any level of other than going out every other weekend, but I just want to get better at for myself personally. So I feel like
Right.
if I'm better shape, I can play better. That's my goal. And I don't want my kid to catch me and kick my ass, and he's getting pretty close to it. So
Yeah, that's always a thought, you know. It's
Yeah.
like once you get to that point to where your kid starts to overtake you,
I
it's
mean,
like,
he's pretty much there. He's there, so I have to try to keep up with him now. But it is what it is.
well, I can understand that, and I can appreciate that. So, yeah, I'm doing this now, and then I gotta get ready for work for the last night of the week. We do, as a programming note only, we do have the Fatal Four Way live tomorrow night on ONTV beginning at 6 p.m., and you can catch all of that over at facebook.com/Orion ONTV 6 p.m. You can call in and be a part of the conversation. A lot of wrestling news to talk about on that show. Re- the rash of releases. Backlash is Saturday night. We're going to be breaking all that down tomorrow night live on the Fatal Four Way. Um, I understand there was a big tournament, a big golf tournament this past week. Do you want to go into Tim's 2 minute golf report now, or do you want to wait till
Oh,
later on in the show?
you're catching me. Hold on, Harry. Yeah, I wouldn't say it was a big tournament, but here we go. Tim's 2 minutes of golf. Sorry, I get a little crazy there. It wasn't a huge
Well,
tournament, but what it was Scotty Scheffler stepping up and actually playing some fucking golf this season. And I had made a post on you're probably making reference that I made a post on there that Scotty was about to make history.
yes.
So we had the CJ Cup Brian Nelson. Let's see if I can get the results to come up. I already know that Scotty Scheffler finally got his first win of the year. And not only did he get his first win of the year, he did it in dominant fashion. He ended up shooting 31 under for the tournament, and he tied the record for the lowest score on a par 72 course in PGA history. He was one stroke away, which he gave up a stroke on. I think it was 16 or 17. I want to say it was 17. He dropped a stroke. Now my shit's not fucking loading, Jason. So I can't, I'm fucking sick of the internet. But yeah, he dropped one shot. Otherwise, he was already over that, and he was at 32 under, and he ended up parring the last hole. But yeah, he tied the record for the lowest score on a par 72 course, which was actually pretty cool because it's actually the longest par 72 course on the tour. So okay, here we go. So Scotty Scheffler, 31 under. He shot 8 under on the fourth round to get to that 31 under. You had Van Ruyen. I don't even know who the fuck that is. Was in second. Stevens in third. Jordan Spieth came in fourth. He was up there in second when I started watching on Sunday. But yeah, it was a pretty good tournament. It was exciting to see kind of Scotty come down to the end there to try to make history. And it was a big what do I got? According to Happy Gilmore Golf, of course, bad pants and a huge ass. So all
Huge
right, there we
ass.
go. It was cool to see Scotty get back into it, especially 2 weeks right before another major coming up. So congrats to Scotty. He played lights out that entire tournament. So that was really cool. No Rory in that week, but I believe Rory is back this week for the Truist Championship. I've already got some results on that today. So far, we have Mitchell in first because today's the first day of this tournament. McCarthy second, Morikawa third. He's shooting pretty well. Ricky Fowler tied for third also, which will be cool. He'll be coming back to the Rocket Mortgage Classic here coming up next month, which I might have to drag you to, Jason, on a Sunday so you can experience a golf tournament live. I talked to Chase, and Chase wants to go to it this year. So let me know. I might have to drag you down to the Rocket Mortgage Classic on a Sunday to go see what actual golf life is about, or PGA Tour life is about. Rory is in 25th right now. He shot 4 under today, which is pretty respectable. He's 5 back after day one. I'm trying to see where exactly Scotty Scheffler is. I believe he's playing this tournament. I haven't looked into it. He might be taking a week off. It looks like Scheffler is most likely taking the week off because I'm not seeing him on this one, so he's probably getting ready for the PGA Championship coming up next week. The pants I might be able to pull off, but I'm a shit out of luck on the rest. Gotcha. Yeah, so Scotty last week won it, rooting on Rory this week. We got the PGA Championship coming up next week. So we'll be doing a little bit extra coverage on that next week to go at the fact that we have another major coming up. And with Scotty getting hot, he's the number one player in the world. Let's see how he can fare in the PGA Championship. And we got all the live guys out there too. So it gets exciting in these majors because you get to see the live guys come back and match up against the PGA guys. Because some of the best golfers in the world right now don't even play on the PGA Tour, and it kind of sucks because you don't get to see that competition every week. You know, whether it's Bryson DeChambeau or John Rahm or Phil Mickelson, a bunch of them. They're over there and they're doing their own thing, which is good for them. They're making a shit ton of money to do it, but it's nice to see them come back and compete against the likes of Scotty Scheffler and Rory McIlroy and, you know, Colin Morikawa, some of these bigger names in the PGA Tour. So I like to watch that. But yeah, big week for golf coming up next week. Big week for Scotty Scheffler last week. Hopefully Rory can win this week because he's defending his title at the Truist Championship. He won it last year, so he's defending his title. And then I'm looking forward to the Rocket Mortgage Classic, which is coming up next month, that I'm going to drag your ass to, so you can experience that firsthand. So it'll be fun.
I would be interested in going to something like that.
Yeah, it's a cool time. I like to go on the last day, which is, you know, the final day of the tournament. Plus, it's a Sunday, and I have Sundays off, so it makes it a little bit easier. But it's a cool event. You go hang out there, follow some golfers around, get to see some cool shit. Spend too much money, and or I do because I like to buy stupid collectibles and shit. But yeah, it'll be a good
I
time.
mean, you
So
kind of got to. It's part of the experience, right?
yeah, and there was stuff there last year I wish I would have bought last year that I'll probably buy this year. So yeah, Chase wants to go. Amy doesn't want to go this year, so I'm looking for other people to go. So I'm dragging your ass there. So
You
get ready.
let me know the date.
Actually,
And
I think it's let me look it up real quick while we're on this subject. I know we're going a little bit over 2 minutes, so everybody, I apologize. Now, I know golf can be pretty cringy for people. I apologize, but it's June 26th through the 29th. So I'd be going on the 29th. So June 29th. That's when I'll be buying tickets to go.
you see what I'm doing right now, right? I am going into my calendar right this second.
Yeah.
June 29th. Okay. I have it marked on my calendar.
Sounds good. We are going.
I don't have anything else on that day, so good sign.
Sounds good. Just meet me at my house, hop in the truck, and let's roll.
Seems simple enough. Seems simple enough. I can appreciate. I'm all about experiencing new things like that, especially for something like this. And I know it's something that's important to you. So
it's a lot of fun to go to one of those events. A lot of people, it's different than watching golf on TV because obviously you can't be everywhere at once. You know what I mean? So you kind of just bang around to different holes and try to catch the end of a hole or try to catch people driving, you know, their drives or whatnot. You know, it's a lot of fun, but it's you get to go there and you'll be surprised on how close you can get up to these guys as they're playing. It's crazy. Like I have video from Ricky Fowler from last year's Rocket Mortgage Classic, and I was about 4 feet away from him as he was chipping out of a bunker. So it's cool as fuck how close you can get to these guys. Now, if they're in a bad mood, they're not going to talk to you, unfortunately. Ricky was pissed off last year. He was playing like shit. So he was being pretty standoffish. But a couple of those guys would, you know, you talk to them as they're going up to the tee box and they'd start talking shit back to you and stuff like that. So everybody's just jabbing jaws at each other. It's a lot of fun. It's cool. It's a cool experience. Especially I know you're not technically 100% a golf fan, but I think it might be something that might turn you a little bit. You know what I mean? So we'll get you down there. Plus, it's something that we can cover on the show the next week, our experience at the Rocket Mortgage Classic. So it'll be cool to do. And maybe we'll have, you know, Tim and Jason's golf talk, you know, 4 minutes of golf that week. So,
you know, and it probably would be something like that that would make me turn that curve. I respect the sport. I do.
Yeah.
I just never understood it. I've never played it, but to see something or to be a part of something like that, and to be a part of that atmosphere really does make a difference, and that a lot of times that is what makes people into fans.
Yeah.
Um, we just came back from Vegas a couple of weeks ago. My girl is not a wrestling fan, but by the time because we went out there for WrestleMania, obviously, by the time we got back home, she's ready to start booking our shit for New Orleans for WrestleMania 42. So all of a sudden,
She's a fan of it.
I don't want to go that far, but there's
She's
more
growing.
interest.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's
Yep.
growing into it. That's why I'm like,
Okay,
I'm
I
gonna
get
get
it.
you. I'm gonna set my hooks in you on the golf. Trust me, as soon as I can acquire a left-handed set for you to use and get you out on a course, because everybody I've ever taken golfing, like a lot of people talk shit about, and they're like, that just looks stupid. Da, da, da. Every fucking single person I have ever took golfing for the first time, which it sucks that you're left-handed because I have 2 extra sets of right-handed clubs. So that's usually how I always start people out. Everybody, and even everybody that Amy's taken golfing, because she does a woman's outing every year, and sometimes she'll
Okay.
ask different friends to go play. And Amy's got a second set of clubs also. So she lets them use it. Next thing you know, they go buy clubs and they're hooked on fucking golf. Just after playing one time, especially if you go do an outing. Outings are a fucking blast.
Mhm.
But yeah, everybody I've ever taken is now hooked, and that's all they talk about is golf, and they want to go play golf all the fucking time. It's that much fun. I don't know if it's just like I wouldn't even say it's an old person thing because my 13-year-old loves golf. In fact, he starts Tuesday with personal swing coaches and everything else, and then he's got his first tee program coming up. But he's completely hooked on the sport of golf, and he missed out on the Rocket Mortgage Classic last year because he didn't want to go last year. He had something else, some big gaming tournament or some shit that he was doing that was more important to him at the time. But he doesn't want to miss it this time. But last year it was cool because he gave up his ticket to Amy's dad, so his grandpa. So his grandpa, we got to take him down there to the Rocket Mortgage Classic, and he had a fucking blast down there. Like he was super giddy because he like knew so many people on the thing, and he was fucking screaming at all these fucking golfers and shit. Like it was cool as hell. But yeah, good experience. I'm gonna get you out there eventually. Maybe my first intro into golf for you would be take you to a PGA Tour event so you can experience that and how much fun it is, and then we'll get you from there. But eventually, I'm gonna set my hooks in to you on the golf. It's gonna
All
happen,
right.
especially now. Like, what else do you got to do, Jason? You go out and play fucking 18 holes sometime and just have a lot of fun.
Crazier shits happen
Yeah,
for sure.
you'll be
So,
fucking surprised. Let me tell you, like I get you out there one time, you're hooked.
well, I mean, I think about like for bowling for example. As a kid, I thought that was the dumbest shit that there ever was. But my uncle had taken me bowling on a random Sunday afternoon, and the next thing you know, I'm like, how do I get onto a league? Like I'm not good, but I really enjoy it. You know what I mean? So
That,
I'm
I look at bowling the same way because I've played on bowling leagues. I love bowling. I was actually getting pretty good at the last one. When I stopped, my back's a little fucked up right now, so I can't throw as well as I used to. But yeah, I mean, bowling and golf kind of go hand in hand. Everybody I know who enjoys bowling loves golf too. So they're kind of in the same realm. It's one of those things that you don't think that you would enjoy it until you go do it, and then you go, "This is a lot of fucking fun," you know.
mhm.
But yeah, I've played on bowling leagues for I went 4 straight years. Did really well there. I've never got on a golf league because work sucks and I don't have enough time to do it. But I'd love to get on a golf league. Now I just do random outings all summer long and then play every fucking week.
All right, man. Like I said, I don't have anything on my calendar for the 29th of June, so you got me
All
for
right,
that
sounds
day.
good. We're taking you.
All
All right,
right.
so that will conclude. Tim's supposed to be 2 minutes, but turned into more like 12, maybe 13 minutes of golf talk this week is now over. It's going to be more next week, so everybody get prepared. We're leading into a major.
Stay tuned for next week, and we're
Yeah.
really going to go down the rabbit hole. All right. let's make a transition here. Let's talk about our Detroit Pistons.
Oh,
Uh,
damn. Do we
yeah,
have to? Do we have
we
to?
listen.
I was
Let's
so
just
mad.
let's
Just
just get.
pissed off at the world.
I know. Let's just focus on the things that have been less than ideal this week, and then we'll finish off strong with something happier. But you know me, Tim. You've known me well enough, long enough to know that, and I actually mentioned this on the air last week. I am a sports fan. I do appreciate sports. Some I'm more dialed into than others, but I also focus on the human element of the world of sports, from the athlete side to the fan side. Um, the Detroit Pistons had a season this year that was miraculous.
Yes.
There's just no other way to describe it. And that fever really started to get a grip in the city of Detroit. The Pistons tickets were the hottest ticket in town as they were coming into the playoffs. And I know I have no problem with eating a little bit of shit pie, because I had said, I mean, very, very, as a declaration almost, do not count these guys out. They're going to find a way to win, and they're going to march on to play Boston in round two. That did not happen. The New York Knicks did finally eliminate the Pistons from the playoffs first round. And then I made the mistake of going on Twitter.
Oh,
And
shit.
oh yeah.
Now,
And
were you saying stuff on Twitter?
no,
No, you were just okay. Okay.
I wanted to see what the hardcore Pistons fans were saying about the team, about the game after they had been eliminated. And there was a lot of support. There was a lot of support for this team. But that vocal minority is what gets people all riled up. This was a shit team to begin with. They had no business being in the playoffs. This is why Detroit basketball is a joke. Like, these are just things that I can remember reading. Like, did you watch this team? Did you really watch this team? Or are you just going by the the end scores? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, and during a personal conversation, I was accused of dismissing the New York Knicks. I did not dismiss the New York Knicks. I
You know
gave
who?
them their flowers.
Yeah. You know who else didn't dismiss them? The fucking referees.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And on top of that, somebody says that this is a shit team. Basketball is shit now. I just want to say that. Like, I'll get into that in a minute, but I'll let you finish.
My thing is, if you are going to be a fan, not just the Detroit Pistons, I don't give a fuck who you root for. If you're going to be a fan, be a fan. And you have to understand, this is not a fucking video game. This is not 2K, whatever the hell. This is real life with real people who are playing a real game. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Yes, we want our teams to be the best of whatever league that they play for. But reality tells us that's not going to be a thing all the time. But the way these people hop on and off the bandwagon, Tim, is enough to put me in fucking fits, bro. To the point to where I want to reach out and smack the fuck out of them. Get off the bandwagon. If all you want to do is root for a winner, just stand on the sidelines, wait till June rolls around or May rolls around, see who's going in the playoffs, and then latch your fandom. But it's disingenuous. You and I, when the Pistons win the NBA title the next time, and they will, mark my
Yeah.
words, you and I can sit here, we can come on these airwaves and be like, we are fans in every sense of the word. We have never wavered. We have never hopped off the bandwagon because they lost last year or they lost this year or this and the other thing. We have been with them from through thick and thin. We do it with the Red Wings. We do it with the Tigers. We do it with the Lions. We do it with the Pistons. This is what we do. There are these other sorry sons of bitches that go on there and be like, oh, I supported them from day one. Motherfucker, no, you didn't. No, you did not. Because I can go back and I can pull up and where you said, fuck this team and this, that, and the other thing. I understand frustration, but holy hell, man, calm it down. Do you think our team wants to hear us berate them? And Tim said it beautifully a couple of moments ago. It wasn't necessarily that the New York Knicks was a better team than the Detroit Pistons. If the game had been played flawlessly and that's the result that happened, then absolutely I would come on here and be like, well, in this series, the Knicks were the better team. I cannot say that. And I will not say that. Because when you look at the statistics, the Detroit Pistons were the better team. The advantage that the Knicks had, and go ahead and, fire off at me all you want. Send me your hate tweets. It's over at PFC Podnet on Twitter. The refs are what took the New York Knicks to round 2. You cannot argue that. There's more than enough examples to where if this hadn't happened or that hadn't happened and this hadn't gone down, the Pistons would have eliminated the New York Knicks. It may have taken them 6 or 7 games to do so because New York is not a shit team. But in this series, they weren't the better one either. That's my opinion. Tim, what's your two cents on this?
So first off, anybody who talks shit about the Pistons, about them not winning that series, yeah, it sucks that we didn't win it. The refs played it. It's fucking Jim.
It's about fucking time.
He's not taking a shit.
Right.
Holy shit. Like
Jason's taking a shit.
No, usually you're taking a shit. That's why we never see you.
No,
like you're stuck in the bathroom, bro. Like you got to change your diet. You got to eat healthier.
I am eating healthy, motherfucker. What are you talking about?
You're looking good, brother. But anyways,
actually, that's false. I've been eating like shit for 4 days, but that's cool. What's that? There he is. Thanks for gracing you with our presence.
What the fuck is going on right now?
I don't know. Where you been?
I've been right here.
Oh,
there.
You left me in. You left me in here with Tim.
Tim, what? What are you?
He never left my screen.
Oh, he was a black screen down below. You were there, but he was not.
Well, because fucking Riverside likes me. Trust me. Last week's fucking episode, you watched it on Spotify. They disappeared his ass for about 20 minutes at the end of the show and just left me up there. So it sounded like I was talking to myself for fucking 20 minutes. And we're waiting to see if it happens again this week. But anyways, let me finish what was I talking about again?
The Pistons.
Okay, yeah. So all the people that were talking shit about the Pistons and how, they shouldn't have been there, and all this other shit. I just want to make a remark. These are the same people that were talking shit last year about the Tigers, how they shouldn't have been there and all this other shit. And it's a team that shouldn't. I mean, technically, chances of them getting there are slim to none. The Tigers did it last year. The Pistons did it this year. Now let's roll into this year and look at what the fucking Tigers are doing this year. You know what I mean? They're proving that they deserve to be there last year. This year, the Pistons are going to do the same fucking thing next year because they're only going to get better. Now, back to the New York Knicks. What a fucking candy ass team. I hate to say it. Like, I never seen so much bullshit in my life because I sat there and watched that entire series. I watched guys barely get touched and fucking flop all over the place to fucking get fouls called and everything else. And I'm like, what the fuck is basketball turned into? Like, basketball is shit. I watched a fucking jump ball where the guy didn't even get hit. Next thing you know, he's on the ground rolling around like he's in pain. And I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? Nobody even touched him. I'm like, what the fuck? And they're calling fouls on this shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? That's all basketball is now, is a flopping game. It's like, do whatever you can do to act like you got hurt so you can draw a foul. It's bullshit. Like, I wish we could go back to the fucking basketball, the fucking 80s and the 90s, because that's when I really enjoyed basketball. Now it's just, it's 90% bullshit, to be honest. But congrats to the Pistons for making it as far as they did this year. I know last year you said last week you were like, never count out the Pistons. And I'm like, I believe that they could win this series. And I think if they didn't get all the bad calls that they got, they would have won this series. I don't know how far they would have went beyond this series. But just because they're kind of, I mean, I've said it before, basketball is a money game and they got super teams, and it's going to be hard to beat out some of those super teams. But I just watched one of the super teams get their ass kicked last week and get knocked out in the first round, and that was fucking beautiful. Lakers fucking suck. It doesn't matter how much money you spend. Sometimes you just can't spend enough to win. But yeah, I'm proud of the Pistons. I can't wait to see what they come back with next year. Stop hating on them. Yeah, maybe they shouldn't have been there this year, but they proved that they have the heart to get there, just like the Tigers did last year. And sometimes it's all it takes is the heart, and you come together as a team and you can make fucking magic happen. And that's what they did this year. And I'm super proud that it's a team from our state that we can get behind and root on, because it's a special team and I can only see them going up. And I really feel like next year is going to be a special year for them, just like this year is a special year for the Tigers so far. So, I mean, congrats. I mean, I think this is the right button. Nope, that's not it. Give my congrats to the Tigers. At least I didn't hit this one. Fuck. That one's for the Lakers. But
Little flop. Yep.
But yeah, proud of the Pistons. Yeah, I mean that's all that I gotta say there. And fuck the Knicks and their bullshit shenanigans, and fuck the refs. Cheers to that.
Fuck the
Here,
refs,
here.
fuck the Knicks, fuck the Lakers, LeBron. Why don't you do us all a favor and retire? You are a disease on this league. I could spend an
Ain't,
entire episode
ain't the
breaking
first
down.
Laker to have a disease.
Oh my goodness.
Hold on.
Jim Burdett coming in hot and heavy here this week. I'll tell you what, you are fired up today, pal. How are you feeling okay today?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Well, we're great. Listen, we started the show here this week on something of somber news, and with you being on here now and knowing your appreciation for baseball, specifically for the Detroit Tigers, we made mention of the passing of Chet Lemon.
Man,
You and I grew up with the '84 championship team. We can remember, the hoopla, like the whole season of 1984, and why that was so special, and why Chet Lemon was one of the more popular players on this team. Uh, T, for you, hearing the news of Chet Lemon passing, what did that do for you in
it's
terms of your family?
heartbreaking.
Yeah,
It was heartbreaking. He was like, I don't know, he was always seemed like, from what I remember, he was always a good guy, good for the community. He was, I don't know if, what's it, I can't think of the word I'm trying to come up with, but he was a special player, but it didn't seem like, he wasn't one of these people that made a whole hell of a lot of noise. He just went about his business, and he ended up being a pretty popular player with the fans, and had all that hustle, and yeah, great center fielder, right field. I think he played right field a few times as well, right?
yes, he did.
Yeah. And then the shirts come out later with the chat and the little lemon on the side,
Yeah.
and they're probably flying off the Amazon portal right as we speak.
We were talking a little bit, with this team, we haven't lost a whole lot of members of this team. You know, I think he is the third one, third
Yeah.
or fourth one of the '84 team that has passed away. So seeing that news here today was, very heartbreaking
Yeah.
for us. That's a generational team, the 1984 championship. So, but on the flip side, the Pittsburgh Pirates naming Don Kelly as their new manager, and Tim and I kind of spent a few minutes talking about how, is he going to be one of those players that become a manager that actually becomes a decent manager, or is he going to be on the other side of that spectrum where he was a good player, but just can't communicate why he was a good player? You see what I'm saying? Ironically, for you and me, Jim, like we have a funny banter about Pittsburgh, about the Pittsburgh baseball team. But so it was ironic that the Pirates are going to be the ones that give him a chance. How do you see Don Kelly fitting in a managerial role now?
I think he'll do good. Jim Leland's still with the Detroit Tigers organization, and he's got deep roots with Pittsburgh. And I can't imagine he didn't go down there without a phone call from Jim Leland. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
And he played under Jimmy Leland for a few years there, so he 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 got guidance from one of the best managers of all time. So I don't think it will really be. I mean, it's going to be a big transition, but because Don knows how to play ball, I think it's going to convert well. And I think he'll do just fine. I think give him a few years and get some good players, and he might be able to turn the franchise around too. You never know.
I said pretty much the same thing, just worded a little differently. That he does have the capability, and I feel like he is going to be one of those guys that does make a successful transition from player to manager. Um, so you're gonna, and I'm happy for him. He was a
Yeah.
good dude here. Um, you
Played
know,
all nine positions, right, in one game once.
yep, yep. We kind of touched on that. We touched on, he was a utility player in every
Yeah,
sense of the word. No matter what you needed, somehow or another, that dude found a way to make it happen.
he sure
And
did.
in situations that he had no shit and right, make it happen. But he did, and that's a testament, and I think that's going to be why he's going to be successful. He's going to follow in the footsteps of your Dave Roberts, of your um AJ Hinch, of Joe Torre, the Tony La Russa, like guys that were really good players, had a lot of success on that side of the field, but are able to communicate why they did what they did, what made them so good, what made them so special, and why those names are on a lot of people's Mount Rushmores of the greatest managers in MLB history. So Don Kelly has got all the potential in the world to do a lot of good for the Pittsburgh
Yeah,
Pirates. And I told Tim it's going to be a year or two, and I implore to the Pittsburgh fans, give him a chance. If you
yeah,
give him a chance to get acclimated to his new surroundings, Pittsburgh is going to be a team to be reckoned with in the National League in the next year or so, in my view, unless he just completely shits the bed. But I don't feel like he's going to do that.
right. Yeah, I don't believe so either. Like I said, I think the excuse me, ties with Jim Leland will definitely help in his favor. Excuse me.
Uh,
So
Speaking of the Tigers, and as we're doing this live, and again, if you have a comment, if you have a question, you have a point of view, an opinion, you want to be a part of the conversation, the link is in the live chat. Just hit that, and it will bring you to our virtual waiting room, or you can correspond with us in the live chat if you're watching us through the Facebook feed. As of right now, in the top of the seventh, Detroit Tigers have a 6-1 lead over the Colorado Rockies in game two of a doubleheader. Uh, you know, Traditionally, it seems like Colorado is good to take at least one from Detroit. That doesn't appear to be a thing here this year. Like Detroit has owned the Rockies, and there's a part of me that that kind of stings a little bit because I have been a Rockies fan from day one. But when you compare the two, I'm always going to go with my hometown team. So I'm in a no lose situation here, but it really puts on display just how shitty the Rockies are, and I really wish that they were not, the worst team in MLB. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, as they
as
say.
It happened.
the Tiger, they're playing 27 outs. If that isn't the motto this season, then last night I think Colorado's chance was as good as it got, and that went by the wayside. Again, Torkelson coming up big. Javi Baez, what do you have? 4 RBIs. I mean, the guy's turned it around. I'll give it to him. I'll be the first one to say that he's turned it around. I hope it continues. Maybe the move to center field, that gives him a little bit of range to relax a little bit. Who knows? But as long as he keeps hitting, I saw him swing at a pitch. I was like, oh, he's gonna miss because it was outside, but he went the other way with it. He didn't, it didn't get by him. He just took what they gave him and he went the opposite direction. And it's good to see these guys play. I mean, it's production's coming 1 through 9 now. Now it don't matter.
Right.
I have a
And
question real quick. Like, as we were talking about this at work today, how many times this season so far do you think Javi Baez has been drug tested? Because
I mean, what they have like 20,
fucking
20 home
180 this
runs.
season. Yeah, like
Yeah.
he did a complete fucking 180 this season. And we know that he's good because he's been good in the past. So it's like, what happened over the last few seasons? Now all of a sudden you decide to turn it back. And maybe you're right, Jim, that it's the switch to center field that, has kind of helped him, kind of rein things back in a little bit. But yeah, he's looking like an all-star again this year.
Yeah, and that's great, man. Maybe the coaches found a hitch in his giddy up somewhere in the swing, and they checked. Look, Houston had that problem with JD Martinez before we got him. They didn't know what to do with him. They couldn't figure out why he couldn't hit the ball. He comes to Detroit. Our coaches find a little glitch, and next thing you know, JD's tearing the cover off the ball, and next thing you know, he's playing for a different team.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it could be in the mechanics of the swing. It could be the mental preparation, not looking for a fastball when a slider's coming, and then being late for the dance. So any little thing those coaches can pick up and it helps. I mean, they've turned Torkelson around. I mean, guys hitting the ball all parts of the field, not just home runs, but he's hitting gappers, he's hitting base hits. He's going opposite field too. This is all good news.
Yeah, that,
Starters have been great. I mean, you get if you can get the screw, it's just going to keep getting kind of worse as the way you go down the rotation. So, and that's great. That's a great problem to have with Maeda. How do you pronounce his name?
Maeda, yeah.
With him being shown the door, that'll be nice, and get Casey Mize and what's the other one? Jackson Job.
yep.
Yeah, probably be a good candidate for rookie of the year if he keeps having the year that he's gonna have. So
We
these are all
definitely,
good things.
yeah, we need that depth because I think that's one thing that hurt us last year. So if we can carry that depth through and carry it into the postseason, they'll be in pretty good shape.
It's like when they had the great pitching staff of Verlander and Scherzer and what's that Fister. So, Scherzer, when we first had him, he could only go 5 innings, and they were bringing in the bullpen. Bullpen was taxed every day, so these starters couldn't even make it out of the fifth inning. So that was a bad run because we had the offense, but now we've got both. Finally, we've got pitching, we got hitting that complements the pitching and vice versa. And you definitely need the last 3 outs of the game are the hardest 3 outs to get. So yeah, I just first in the American League by what, two? Is it 2 games? Can you check that?
Yeah, it might be 2 games now. Last I
Yeah,
looked at it, they were 1 game up, but I think with that win earlier, it puts them 2 games up.
earlier, correct,
Yeah.
right. I believe you're correct on that. Yeah, which is this fucking awesome.
And they're all coming around. I mean, look at Riley Green
Yeah,
this year. Riley Green's fucking hitting the cover off a ball this year so far.
yeah,
So I mean, they're all hot. I mean, just hopefully they can continue carrying this because it is a long ass season. You know what I mean? Let's hope that
yeah,
by the end of September they're still rolling at this pace and they can keep it going. But I think they have a pretty good chance.
yeah, yeah.
Bunch of young guys who have a lot of stamina and keep going. That's a beautiful thing about having such a young team too, is they can go a little bit longer than some of these older guys can.
Still wouldn't hurt to get a veteran right-handed bat, maybe at the trade deadline, or somebody that's been released. It probably wouldn't hurt. Somebody that you could have on the bench if you need to go to, and it's got some extra pop in the bat. You put them out there, and suddenly they're making pitching changes because they're not too sure. So, and then he runs into something. You never know. But an additional veteran right-handed bat would be pretty favorable for the Tigers.
I think that'll be an option because obviously with their record so far this year, they're going to be buyers at the trade deadline, and
Yeah,
instead
right.
of trying to sell, they're definitely going to be buyers. So we'll just have to see who they get and who's kind of struggling this year and who's willing to give up what to get somebody here. But I see that being an option.
And Gleyber Torres, I forgot to bring him up. It's weird seeing a Yankee playing in a Tiger uniform. It just is. But now, he come back from his back issue, and he's starting to hit the ball again too. And this is all good things, man. It's a good time to be a Tiger fan right now. So let's hope it keeps going.
I was gonna
Provided
make.
you don't have to watch them somewhere on TV or streaming or climb a fucking telephone pole just to watch the game. Jesus.
Don't get me fucking started on that, dude.
You're
I
going to have
swear
to
to
watch them
God,
from a telescope.
this shit.
You're gonna have to buy a drone and fly it over the field just to
Yeah.
get an eye on them.
For
How you
real.
like it? A first place team can't get regular television coverage, albeit either on
Consistently.
local stations or the cable. Come on.
I think
Well,
the only sport that really does it anymore is football. To be honest, like football, put it on the local station. Everybody else has their own little fucking spot, so you have to pay every month to fucking watch them. Hey, look
Or
at
golf.
Preston's fucking right. Oh, golf's easy to watch. But it is for me because I have all the right fucking subscription services, so I watch it every week. And don't talk shit about golf. We already went through.
I don't have to say anything. It speaks for itself.
well, here we go.
No,
Here we go.
that's all I said. That's all. I
That's
was
all you
being
had, Jim.
respectful.
Those are true athletes out there, Jim.
Yeah, I understand. I watched one chain smoke Marlboro Lights on the sideline while waiting for his nachos to get delivered by his golf caddy.
Oh, you're talking about John Daly.
Yeah, yeah.
That's just
Maybe
his
they
guy.
were Maybe they were American spirits. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure what he smokes, but yeah, no, they might be basics. He might be a basic light guy as he drinks his fucking Bush Lights,
Yeah,
gets
his
hammered before he goes out there.
his natty daddies.
Actually, he's got his own drink now. It's like give a big shout out because I drink them all the time when I'm not drinking beer sometimes. But he has a Good Boy. It's like a hard iced tea type drink. It's fucking delicious. If you ever get a chance to, it's the John Daly drink. They're fucking. But yeah, that guy's an animal. I've never seen somebody who can pound so many drinks and go out there and fucking just still hammering balls.
On the bottom of the label, does it say hammered by noon or what?
No.
No.
I mean, no, but yeah, that's
No.
probably a true statement for John Daly.
Oh my goodness. The one thing I wanted to make mention or to go off of what you guys were saying was the trade deadline for MLB, and the Tigers are coming or probably will be buyers at this point. And then with the success that this team is having, and now the national media coverage that they're finally generating, there's going to be some players that are going to want to come to Detroit to be that missing piece of the puzzle that's going to take them over the hurdle. And that's going to be real interesting to see what happens here in the next few weeks leading up to the trade deadline, going into All-Star break. What is this team going to look like when the All-Star break comes? If they maintain, they're going to still be, if not tied with the evil empire that is the Yankees. They're going to eclipse and be the best team in the American League right now, and it's crazy to put the Detroit Tigers at the front of that sentence, because
Without Alex Bregman.
right, right, yeah. How's Boston doing these days?
That right, Tim.
Real.
Can we get an official standings on the Boston Red Sox, please?
Hang
uh,
on, I'm pulling it up right now.
uh,
Oh, that was fucking
Sorry.
hilarious. No,
No, it's you need to get a church with everybody like praying and then a big fart, like it goes a fart going in church, you know what I mean? It's just something really powerful, something to really get the Holy Ghost rolling.
All right. So as of right now, the Boston Red Sox are in second place in the AL East behind the Yankees. 2 games out of first place. The Detroit Tigers, of course, they're at top of the AL Central. That gap has closed a little bit. The gap between them and the Guardians is now down to 2 games. Same can be said for Kansas City.
Yeah, Cleveland.
The Chicago White Sox are playing Chicago White Sox baseball. They are in the absolute toilet right now. Over on the AL West, the Seattle Mariners and the Athletics are tied for. No, I apologize. The Mariners are at top. The Athletics are in second place, 3 games behind the Mariners right now. The Texas Rangers or the Astros, Rangers, and Angels round out the AL West. The Mets are in control of the AL East. The Chicago Cubs, NL Central, and the Dodgers are now the top team in the NL West, and that's a couple of weeks after they were hovering around the third or fourth place in the NL West, behind the Padres. And yeah, statistically speaking, the Rockies are the worst team in baseball right now. So that's
But I
lovely.
mean, that's got to make the White Sox feel good at least
Yeah.
Yeah,
that they're not
yeah,
the worst this year.
second to the worst, but
Yeah, it's not the
not
worst.
no.
Respectively in their league,
Yeah,
they're the worst.
Mm-hmm. 100%. So yeah, it's going to be real interesting. Real like Jim was saying, it is a fun time to be a Detroit Tigers fan right now. And I'm
it's a
telling you,
fun time to be a Detroit sports fan. You
yeah,
know what I
That's
mean? It's
correct.
because it's not just the Tigers; it's the Pistons. The Wings stepped it up this year, even though they didn't make it to the postseason, but they had a good season, respectively. And then you have the Lions. I mean, Detroit sports are on fire right now, and I don't see them slowing down anytime soon.
they can't let their foot up off the gas at this point.
No.
Because what history has shown, when that happens, the bottom falls out real fucking fast. They can't allow that to happen. And I don't think it is. I don't think it is going to happen. And what started with our football team, one word has become a movement that has transcended all the sports here in the fine state of Michigan. That word is grit. And I mean, every team is displaying that now in some way or another. And it's not just the professional ranks. We're seeing it in the minor leagues. We're seeing it in college sports
Seeing
with
it in the
Michigan.
UFL.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Yeah,
Michigan Panthers are the top team in the UFL right now, and that's amazing.
yeah.
And yeah, it is. It is a real fun time to be a sports fan in Detroit, Michigan right now. It's been a
It's
long time coming.
the Dan Campbell effect, as I call it. Ever since he's come to
Yeah.
this town, this entire city has turned around, all the way around. So big
Just
thanks
go,
to Dan Campbell because he
yeah.
turned around every fucking sport in there. I mean,
He
sometimes
carries his
just
balls in a wheelbarrow. What do you expect?
yeah,
Well, it's gonna be. He's gonna be. He's on track to become one of the most, if not the most influential sports figures in Detroit sports history.
He's just
Somewhere
got
or
to win the
another,
big one.
oh, he will. That's There is no other option. When that happens,
Exactly.
there's going to be a huge, like a statue of him somewhere, and it's going to be awesome.
I
He's
saw a meme the other day that it kind of hit me a little bit. It said the Detroit Lions had to trade away Matt Stafford to build a Super Bowl winning team, and they're only one Matt Stafford away from being a Super Bowl winning team.
mm, mm, pretty
I don't know how many
pretty
people.
significant statement.
Yeah, I don't know how many people feel that one, but honestly, like I look at it and I go, if we had Matt Stafford with the team we have now, maybe we would have won a Super Bowl already. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's hard to say. I love Matt Stafford. I'm a big Matt Stafford. I have 2 of his fucking jerseys hanging on my wall. Always been a big fan of Matt Stafford, but I love Jared Goff too. I think Jared Goff can do it. I was a fan of Jared Goff when he played for the Rams, and I was super happy with him coming here. My only bitch about Jared Goff is I wish that he could scramble a little bit. Like, the guy is slow as molasses, but he's one of the most accurate throwers in football. Like, he's a good pocket quarterback. That's what he does. You know what I mean? There's no scrambling needed when you can be that accurate. But yeah, I just saw that meme and I thought I'd bring it up this week.
And I think that's what gets lost in the translation about him, Tim, is that I think everybody always looks for wants the deep ball, the home run, the fucking 100-yard pass. But I think I would rather take a fucking sniper that's accurate from 20, 30, 40 yards out than a guy that's semi-accurate from like 60 yards out, waiting on that deep throw, might get picked off, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think, to me, I think, for my opinion, I would take the veteran guy that can make the most closest accurate passes. He's got enough weapons. You got 2 guys in the backfield. You got multiple weapons on the line. I don't think the home run ball is what you have to go through. I think you
No.
just, I mean, they're so good at nickel and diamond all the way down the fucking field. Like, it don't take them no time at all, you know? And if, and I agree with you on the scrambling, but we've kind of had a bad history of guys that can't really scramble. Charlie Batch, some of them other
Yeah.
guys that are just Scott Mitchell. Don't even let me get me started on that fucking clown. But it's just one of them things. Was Harrington a good scrambler? I don't really recall that. Like, so I think the accuracy, like you stated, I think that'll be key.
Yeah. I think it's super important. And a lot of people, like, I talk to a lot of people and they're like, he just falls to the pressure all the time and he goes down. I'm like, no, the fuck he doesn't. I'm like, he is actually one of the most, like, percentage wise, one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the league under pressure. The only problem that you have with him is that he can't scramble. And I have a little bit of that problem. I wish he could scramble, but he doesn't need to. You know what I mean? He's not going to escape a pocket. He gets sacked. Sure. You know what I mean? But he's not giving up that many balls. He's not throwing balls away. He's one of the most accurate under pressure. And I've watched him throw balls from almost his knees as he was going down. The guy is an incredible quarterback. Don't get me wrong there. You know what I mean? We got blessed with the opportunity to see, Matt Stafford play here for years. And Matt Stafford can scramble with the best of them. That guy can throw sidearm. He can make some amazing shit happen. You know what I mean? But the problem was having him here, we couldn't have all those other pieces. We never had, obviously he had weapons. He had Kelvin Johnson, probably one of the greatest wide receivers ever, but the offensive line sucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Stafford had to make that shit happen. Goff has the benefit that he has the best offensive line in football. He's got the best 1-2 punch out of the backfield, and he's got a slew of incredible receivers out there and one of the best fucking tight ends in the league playing back there. You know what I mean? It's statistically, it was the best offense in the league last year. It was the number 1 offense overall in the league last year. They're going to continue that this year because they've only, added pieces to that this year, and they've added pieces to defense. I just saw that we picked up another player this week from the Eagles. We got Avonte Maddox that they just signed as another defensive back. So we got another guy in the corner there this year. So they're definitely building depth, on defense this year to kind of help, in case we run into those injury issues like we did last year. Because let me say, if we didn't have all those injuries on defense last year, that was a Super Bowl team. Like, hands down, was a Super Bowl team. If we had a healthy defense running into those playoffs, we would have ran right through those fucking playoffs straight to the Super Bowl and a win. You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, when we went into that playoff game, the majority of our fucking defense was third stringers. Like, we had guys, I didn't even know who the fuck they were. They just got called up off the practice squad to play that week. You know what I mean? So the point is, we need to stay healthy on defense. The offense is just fucking moving. We picked up some more pieces in the draft, whether offensive linemen or, a couple more wide receivers. Everything's clicking. This team's going to be amazing. Goff's got a million weapons. Let's just get to this season. This season's going to be tough. It's a hard schedule. I don't know if you guys seen our schedule this year. I know they haven't released dates, but the schedule this year is going to be a tough schedule. But that's what happens when you're one of the better teams in the NFL. You get that tougher schedule. And I think they're going to handle it just as well as they did last year, Because I remember going into last year, everybody was talking about how tough the schedule was. We went 14-2. Like, fuck off, bitches. Like, how hard was it? You know what I mean? Like, and they turned out to be the number one fucking offense in the league on a hard schedule. So just bring it. You know what I mean? Let's get this team healthy. Bring it. Let's go to a fucking Super Bowl this year.
And did I not see Zadarius Smith say he'd take a pay cut to come back?
Oh yeah, dude. I think 100% he's coming back. Like, he's been hanging out in Detroit. He keeps flying back to Detroit. He was going to the Pistons games and shit. Like, he wants to be in Detroit, and I think it's just a matter of probably weeks before we sign him. Chances are, probably what I'm thinking is he's probably going to wait until, you know, the voluntary, the OTAs and everything else going on, because a veteran like that, he doesn't need to go through all this bullshit practice with the rookies and shit like that. Plus, that puts a lot of stress on his body being a little bit older. I know he's only like 32 or 33, but in football terms, that's getting a little bit older. So I have a feeling before the season starts, maybe like a month from now, you'll see that he'll sign with us again. And I think that's why we didn't take a defensive end early in the draft, was they're fully on board with re-signing him. Lots of rumors with that, but I think that's going to see, and I'm excited to see that, because I was excited last year when we picked him up. I was like, I want to see what he does on the opposite side of Hutch, because that's going to be really fucking good. You know what I mean? Like, what are they going to do? Especially when we get Lee McNeil back. That defensive line is going to be unstoppable. It's going to be just stacked. Like, this team is rounding up to be really good. And I saw a lot of people put out their draft grades and stuff like that. Some people were giving the Lions an F or some shit. I'm like, okay, you guys do that every fucking year, but look how the draft turns out for us. You know, you guys shit on us for, you know, the way that Brad Holmes drafts, but then you guys praise him by the end of the season and go, he made all the right fucking choices. So just believe in Brad Holmes, believe in Dan Campbell. This team's fucking special, and it's only going to get more special this year.
Yep, absolutely. We are on the cusp of something very special here, for sure. Um, let's go ahead and start winding this episode down. We certainly appreciate everybody tuning in here. We covered just about every facet of Detroit sports here this week, which I enjoy episodes like that. You know, we're it's a little bit of everything. You know, and anytime we can get T on here, that's always a good time. Jim Brigette, co-host of Tea Time, that you hear here on the PFC Entertainment Network. And I do want to make mention, if you are in the market for some new merchandise for this show or any of the other shows on our network, head on over to pfcstore.printify.me or pfcsummer.printify.me. This is this shirt I'm rocking here this week is a fine example of some of our great merchandise that we have over on our summer lineup. Head on over there right now and check out baseball jerseys, hats, beach towels, swim trunks, all kinds of sandals. You name
Speedos.
it. No.
No,
You
no,
haven't put any Speedos
no,
up there
damn.
No, they didn't even give me the option, or else I would have.
yet? We're gonna have to find a different supplier.
Hey, you can't fucking win them all, can ya?
No, I did the best I could with what I had to work with. So we certainly do appreciate everybody tuning in here live tonight, or if you are listening or watching us on demand on the RSS feed on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, or of course YouTube.com. For Jim Brigette, for Tim Sheridan, I'm Jason Clouse. We appreciate you tuning in. Go out, be awesome to yourselves and to each other. We'll see you next week right here on the Sports Reel podcast on the PFC Entertainment Network.
Go Tigers.